Alright, so we are looking at more stem changing verbs. What do we already know about stem changing verbs? Well, stem changing verbs have a spelling change. Alright, so there's one letter that's going to change typically into two. We know that the change occurs in the boot shape. That's why we call it a boot verb. That means that the spelling change will happen in the yo form, the tu form, the el, ella, usted form, and the ellos, ellas, ustedes form. It will not happen in the nosotros form or the vosotros form. And then we also know the spelling change by how we classify the verb. So if we call it an E to IE boot verb, that's telling us that the E changes to an IE. So now we're introducing two more groups of stem changers. The first group we're going to look at is an E to I stem changing group. No, this is not a typo. It is E to I. The two verbs that are going to follow this pattern in our vocabulary are servir and pedir. They're both going to have that stem change. So notice we have servir. It's already conjugated for you. It's an E to I boot verb. So that means that we have to change the E in servir to an I when we conjugate. And so that means we end up with sirvo, sirves, sirve, servimos, servais, and sirven. So again, notice we only do that spelling change when it falls in that boot form. Okay, go ahead, pause the video, and then see if you can conjugate pedir. Alright, so here we go. We've got pedir. If you followed the pattern that we know, you should have ended up with pido, pides, pide, pedimos, pedais, and piden. So for right now, these are the only two verbs that you have to know that fall under the E to I stem change group. Alright, so now we've got our second stem change group, and it's going to be classified as an O to UE stem changer. So that means that the O has to change to a UE. So try this one on your own. The verb is poder, which means to be able or can. So if you followed the patterns that we know, you should have ended up with yo puedo, tú puedes, él, ella, usted puede, nosotros podemos, vosotros podáis, and ellos, ellas, ustedes pueden. Okay, we've got a little bit more practice. So try conjugating these on your own. Every single one of these verbs will follow the O to UE pattern that we're talking about here. So we've got almorzar, costar, dormir, encontrar, and volver. Alright, so go ahead, pause the video, and see if you can fill in these conjugation charts on your own. Alright, so if you followed the stem changing pattern, you should have ended up with almuerzo, almuerzas, almuerza, almorzamos, almorzáis, and almuerzan. Then for costar, we have cuesto, cuestas, cuesta, costamos, costáis, cuestan. For dormir, we have duermo, duermes, duerme, dormimos, dormais, duermen. Encontrar, we have encuentro, encuentras, encuentra, encontramos, encontráis, and encuentran. And finally, for volver, we have vuelvo, vuelves, vuelve, volvemos, volváis, and vuelven. Alright, so for right now, you will be responsible for knowing that these verbs fall under the O to UE boot category. Alright, so we've got one more, and this one is a U to UE spelling change. It's one of the only verbs that has this spelling change, and hopefully by this point you're familiar with applying the pattern. So see if you can apply what we've learned about stem changing verbs to jugar, knowing that it is a U to UE, boot verb. Go ahead and fill in that chart. All right, so you should have ended up with yo juego, tú juegas, él, ella, usted juega, nosotros jugamos, vosotros jugáis, ellos, ellas, ustedes juegan. And that's that. That's our group of stem changing verbs. Feel free to watch the video again if you need help or need to fill in those notes.